Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the third budget session of the Surry County Board of Commissioners, April 22nd, 2025. First, we'll get kicked off tonight with the invocation and pledge. Commissioner Melissa Hyatt. Everyone, please stand.
Let us pray. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we give thanks for the day. We give thanks for the rain that nourished the earth as it fell today, as we've been through such a dry spell. Lord, as we come to you tonight, we do the people's business, but not only the people's business, but the agenda tonight is the business of the children of our county. We ask that you give guidance and grace as we make decisions across this budget session to make sure that we do what is not only good for one, but good for all. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Ma'am.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I believe this is Commissioner Harris's first time.
Yeah,
So,
sure. I need it.
we'd like to welcome all the school systems here tonight. Hopefully we'll leave here a whole lot smarter than we come in. So all this education in front of us tonight. So we're not going to mess around tonight because it looks like we got a lot of business to take care of. So we're going to jump right into it with the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Tucker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Goins. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, next. I'll get into all the introductions and everything when we call each school system up, so I'll get it all took care of then. But first up, we're going to have Dr. David Shockley. And you can introduce your team and tell us what you got on your mind, sir. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And on my team tonight is familiar faces, Dale Jessup, who serves as our Executive Director of Facilities, and our Senior Vice President of Finance, Mr. Tony Martin. So I'm grateful to have them with me tonight and really the catalyst that puts this budget together. And so I get to be the mouthpiece. And so the format of our budget's the same as it's been in the years past. The 14th time, I guess, I presented to this board on a budget. And so we pretty much follow through on the spreadsheets that you have, and if you have any questions, but we basically just inflationary cost is what we focused on, was actual cost in the budget lines, and made that adjustment accordingly with the inflationary cost is pretty much the theme that you would go through. I will point out on the salaries and contracts, that does include increases to the facilities to match what we were given in the state rates and those pay raises, plus we have 2 retirements that's going to be coming forth, which is going to involve long-term and employees in our police department force that are going to be retiring. And so we will have payouts, which is going to be a larger cost and expense on the salaries as we move forward in this year's budget increase. So that's pretty much the largest increase that you would see in bringing that forward. The rest of them are fixed cost. And if you look at that, insurance is going to be going up for us again this year with the inflationary cost. And out of that 56,000, that's predominantly where majority of that will exist, and that in the retirement for our employees and matching those type things. Any questions on that first page of the budget sheet? If we go on to the second page, still staying with it, when you look at the inflationary costs with equipment leases and repairs to the maintenance of facilities, we're going to ask for an increase of $15,000 there for, once again, it's inflationary cost based off of what we're seeing and what we're having to pay over in the past. And if you come down for capital outlay, we're going to stay with the same thing. And again, ask the commissioners if you would consider applying. Years ago, we had approached the board about putting $250,000 a year in a reserve for the community college that you hold. So at such time, if we ever came to this board for a capital request or those type things, we would already have that money put away and sort of a pay-as-you-go model versus coming to you when something broke or in that need. And so soliciting that request again to keep building that reserve. And like I said, that you hold and control on behalf of the community college. So if we do have that need coming forward. And so when you look at the overall increase, it's around 167,000 that we're looking for in our basic budget increase. And so with that, I will stop and see if there's any questions on the basic allocation of the budget before I go into and ask for representing as chairman of the Surry County Works Executive Committee for the request that we would have there for a small adjustment. Again, it's for the payroll increases based off of salary adjustments for the Surry County Works program of about $5,900 in that program. Okay. The last thing that we presented during the retreat is the remodeling of our T building project that we presented previously, which will come in about $3.381 million. That is would take us to around 11 to 12 million for that project that we have the 8 million set aside that came from the state STIF funds. And so we're asking for that to go up. As we discussed in that meeting, we were about 1.2 million short about 4 years ago. Then it went to 1.8 million, and now the estimated for construction inflationary cost being about that 3.38 million. This is the building that houses our early college and our science departments. And so it is in the worst shape and one of the second oldest building on the college campus. And what we're proposing to do is keep the shell, gut the building entirely from wall to wall, and redistribute the classrooms, make it more efficient in uses of space, as well as meeting the needs of the administration of the early college, high school, the counselors and those type things, which the building wasn't designed for, better classroom space and a total remodeling and re-equipping of our science labs. And at the end of the day, it'll be a 60-year-old building that looks brand new and will have brand new guts and everything. So very, very cheap infrastructure, and having a brand new building basically in an old shell and brick and mortar and those type things. And so, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, that includes Surry Community College request for this year. Are there any questions that I might answer or concerns?
Any questions?
So, Dr. Shockley, looks like last year you were at 3,188,000. And this year you're at 3,605,000. Is that correct? No,
Yes.
3 million. Yeah, 3,605,000.
Yeah, 3.438 to 3,605. And the total budget request. Is that where you're looking, Mr. Harris?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. The Surry County Works number, 405,000, which is basically static where it was last year, pretty much.
Yes, sir.
And I think there was some sort of artificial cap there on the Surry County Works enrollment that had been established. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. We set a cap on the enrollment at around 200, or it was 277? 275. And so we did set that cap with the advisory board, and our concern is making sure that we do not diminish in quality of the program and our ability to support it, and also to be predictable for not only this board, but our partners and friends in Yadkin County as well, so that it becomes predictable. We could probably double that, but I don't know that the quality would be what we want and expect, and our employers need it to be, as well as respectful of this board.
How many staff were included in that 405?
I think currently there's 8 total.
Are they all full-time?
Yes. 1 part-time.
We had a,
1 retired superintendent that's working, but that's grant funded.
we had a Surry County Works meeting, last week. Dr. Hall, Dr. Brown, I believe you missed Dr. Reeves.
Yeah, he was in Raleigh.
But, as we said last week, we got a cap of 272 students. That's amazing. From what it started, this is my second go round on the board. From, what it started, 5, 6 years ago, 6. But, going from 25, 30 students to 272.
Yes.
That's amazing.
The program, when we first approached the Surry County Commissioners and the Elkin County Commissioners, we thought if we did 100 a year, that would be pie in the sky numbers. We blew through that the first year. Currently have served 908, I think, duplicated intern apprenticeships with 600 and some students served in 4 years' time. And so the program is the best model I've ever seen for workforce development in any community, anywhere, especially with the dynamics that we've been able to create inside of our community with all stakeholders working for one positive thing, and that's young people and adults that are included into the program, which were not included in the beginning, to be able to do that for our community in this region. Mr. Chairman, we've created a nationally respected model that has been duplicated across the nation, recognized across the nation, and recognized heavily inside of the state of North Carolina by the Department of Instruction for Public Schools and the community college system and both chambers of our General Assembly and the governor's office, without a doubt. Heralded as one of the best things that they've ever heard of.
Well, that's many, many students that probably wouldn't have never finished high school.
There's no doubt about that. And the FLEET program that we just instituted and brought on board this past year is living proof of that. These are students that, without a doubt, were not on a trajectory to graduate high school. Now they're on a trajectory to graduate high school, reclaim credit to graduate high school, enrolled at the community college and taking workforce development classes and working.
Improved the grades. We talked about some other day, that one kid.
Yeah, the grades have improved to all kids are passing, and one kid had a 13 average, if my memory is correct on that data point, had a 13 in English, and the kids did pass their end of grade testing as well, and for the first time across the board. And looking at that, absentee rates, one kid had missed almost 50-some days. Now we're down to less than, I think it's 14 days for the whole group on the average for the entire group. And so absenteeism is gone. They're going to graduate high school on time. They're attending Surry Community College and taking classes for workforce development while they're enrolled in high school, and they're working at Altech in those positions. And now they're migrating this semester. Some of the students that have been there are migrating into the plant, into other fields that went beyond what we thought would be capable when they were just located inside with peer-to-peer in manufacturing cable solutions, graphics, and electronic controls that control the modules on the trucks. And so building those from scratch to now they're welding, they're working in paint booths, they're assembly on the outside in the plant, working alongside of adults. And so amazing program as part of the Surry Elkin Works umbrella, something else to be very, very proud of, in a national model, and the only model of its kind in the state of North Carolina.
Mr. Chairman, being on the college board, I just wanted to thank Dr. Shockley for his management style over there and what he's been able to do at Surry Community College. I'm kind of a history guy, and I look at some of this data in a historical context. Going back, my first budget year was 2011, and but going back to 2000, to that very time, in 2012-13, the percentage of Surry Community College budget for Surry County was 2.84, and it was $2 million appropriation. And this year, well, last year in 24-25, it was 3.18 million, which was a 3.08% of the county budget. And I think that's very good management and very consistent. And I just wanted to thank you, sir, for your being fiscally responsible with the public's money. Yeah.
We take it very seriously. We enjoy being partners with this board and helping our community move forward and doing what we can also to support our public school partners that will be presenting tonight, because I know that it's hard to do. We've been a beneficiary of state dollars, and as I promised you from day one in 2011, 2012, that if we can solve it on our own, we will. we'll only come here when that need is, we can't solve it on our own. And so we were a beneficiary of that. And as long as I'm president of the college, that's what we'll continue to do. But that's an interesting stat. I'm proud of that.
And fortunately, we were able, that helped this board, we received $7.2 million for the Connect NC bonds. And we got rid of a bunch of stuff, didn't we, over there, Dale, with the, spending that $7.2 million
Yes.
on those bonds. It was money well spent.
It was.
The Surry County taxpayers wasn't directly
Yeah.
responsible for, so.
All right,
Okay.
anything else? Dr. Shockley, we appreciate you coming tonight and thank you guys for being here and good to see you.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a good
Y'all
evening.
have a great evening and thanks again. All right, Earl, you sitting over there with all your friends. Everybody's over here on the other side. You over there by yourself.
One of my friends.
Okay. I noticed y'all's having a good time over there, so. Okay. All right, Dr. Travis Reeves, Surry County School, and I want to get you to introduce everyone you have with you tonight.
Yes, sir.
I
Well,
don't
first of
miss
all,
anybody.
thank you for having us tonight. I want to introduce, got TJ Bledsoe, board member, Raleigh Scales, Dale Badgett, Kent Whitaker, Mr. Hutchins, I think he may be on his way, Kevin Vi, Amy Harris, Robert Drawn, and Doug Dixon. So that's my team with me.
Kevin's still hanging out.
Kevin is still hanging out with a smile,
Uh,
with a smile.
Right. He's got something to smile about, don't he?
Yes, he does. Thank
In
you.
case people don't know, Kevin's getting ready to retire.
Yes.
So, congratulations, buddy. Oh, it is? It ain't no more. All right.
Thank you, commissioners, for having us tonight. And again, last year, we came to you with a request to put an SRO in every school, and I want to say thank you. What a great school year it's been, and I believe a big part of that are the school resource officers that we've been able to place in every single school. And I say that from the standpoint, first, safety, second, relationships. Our SROs have been able to create trusting relationships with students and staff. They've been very visible. And one thing that I've noted and our board members have noted at our DARE graduations, those SROs that have been able to go to DARE school are now teaching the DARE classes. And so they've kind of put their own twist on DARE and the graduation ceremonies with our students. And that's really been nice to see. And really, first and foremost, community. They are a part of the community, part of the school community. And I know that our principals value this one-on-one relationship they have with their school resource officer. This relationship has helped our students and helped their families, often during the school day, but many times after school, many times on the weekend, because our principals have that point person in law enforcement. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank Sheriff Hyatt and Lieutenant Hutchins for the partnership with Surry County Schools. Secondly, I want to thank you for the support of Surry Airy Works. So thank you for bringing that up, and we certainly support Dr. Shockley. We've had tremendous success with Surry Airy Works. This year, we have right at 110 unduplicated students that are in the program, and they're building relationships. They're building connections with local businesses. But I think as important as those two things are, they're building confidence in themselves, in who they are and what they want to do, and it gives them great purpose. And it helps us help students see the path and maybe see the end and see where they fit in this community, this economy, and I think that's real important. So thank you for your support of Surry Airy Works, and again, I want to thank you for the projects that you've helped us with throughout. So you have our budget request in front of you. Want to go through that?
You took us to heart last night, didn't you?
I sure did. Yes, sir. So you see the 25-26 school year request. This information was given to the county manager, I think, on March 21st. We're requesting a total of $9,918,000. This is a $656,000 increase from last year. As Dr. Shockley mentioned, this increase will help us offset the increase of hospitalization insurance, retirement costs, and the potential salary raises in the state that we must match. This is a total of $1,425 per student. Do you have any questions on that current expense request that I can answer? Again, with rising inflation, cost of doing business, the increase is necessary for us to maintain current services, educational staffing. I do want to point out, we've made cuts the previous 10 years plus, including a $3 million cut last year. We have done everything we can in our school system to make the most of the dollars we have. We take that responsibility extremely seriously. We have increased class sizes. We have reduced staffing in all areas to right size our school district, and we are operating as lean as we ever have. And it's really difficult to identify future cuts without jeopardizing educational services. So I do want to point that out and let you know that our folks take their work very seriously. They love our students. We love our students, and we want to give them the best education possible. Are there any questions on the current expense request? If not, I'll move to the supplement request. You'll see that on the back side. The Board of Education, first of all, I just want to say this. Staffing our schools has become ultra competitive. I think you know that. We know that. In the job market, we are losing employees to other school systems and other professions due to compensation, supplements, benefits. In recognizing the challenge, our board is requesting $800,000 in supplemental funds. $500,000 of the $800,000 would be for just our teachers to increase teacher supplement pay in order to be more competitive with other districts. $300,000 would be used for a retention bonus for hard-to-fill positions, a supplement bonus to our pre-K teachers that is not covered by the state, and a supplement bonus to our classified staff. So the board is requesting that additional $800,000 in supplemental funds to, again, make us competitive with others, neighboring districts and other neighboring industries. Any questions? If not, I'll move to the second special request, Phase 1 construction at Surry Central High School and East Surry High School. As we noted in the budget retreat, thank you for having us that day. The Surry County Board is requesting $35 million in special capital requests to address the failing buildings at our high schools, namely East Surry and Surry Central. As you know, we have had a long-range capital plan done by Bill Powell, and we are proposing to begin Phase 1 construction at Surry Central High School on the cafeteria and kitchen. As you know, the building was opened around 1960. The current kitchen and cafeteria are original to the building and too small for the student body. We also feed the early college out of Surry Central High School kitchen. We currently at Surry Central, if you go there during lunch, you'll see students on a regular basis eating in the hallways, eating outside. Secondly, we have the same problem at East Surry High School with the kitchen and cafeteria. We have students in the hallways and outside there also. And at both schools, this presents challenges for the cafeteria staff. It also presents challenges for the school administration when it's cold and rainy. And our custodians and cafeteria staff have space constraints, freezer issues, storage issues, and cleanliness issues with the current structures. So therefore, we would like to begin Phase 1 construction on our 3 high schools, or on those 2 particular projects. Any questions? The third request is an alternative education program, and if you'll notice in the money line, I put TBD. So I want to explain that a little bit further. The commissioners, the Surry County Schools, Elkin City Schools, and Mount Airy City Schools come to you tonight with a joint request, and I'll let my colleagues, after I speak, obviously during their session, discuss this, but we are looking to begin an alternative learning program for all three school systems. And so, as we see the needs of our students, our community, our schools,
Can
we
you
see the
repeat that, a
need.
program for, repeat that definition for me, please?
An alternative learning program
Alternative learning.
structured around therapeutic support, academic scaffolding, and foundational skill developments for students that are having a difficult time in a traditional brick and mortar school. We're looking to begin this program for middle school students in phase one, middle school and high school students in phase one. What we're looking, Commissioner Harris and other commissioners, is to begin this alternative program, have entry and exit points throughout the school year, so that if students can't be successful in a traditional school, we have an alternative placement option for those students. We would create individual transition plans for students that couldn't be successful in the traditional school, and it could be for many reasons. Many reasons. Behavior might be a reason, but there could be a lot of other reasons they can't be successful in a traditional school. And we would combine under flexible and fluid design a mix of on-site instruction, virtual learning, therapeutic support, and community-based experiences for our students. And so what we would like to do is establish in phase one baseline programming and staff with the staff members there. We are going to need folks, a program administrator, teachers, clerical support. We're going to have some other supports, mental and behavioral health supports, exceptional children supports, career development, and potentially school resource officer. In phase two, we would like to add an elementary component to this and a work-based learning component so that our students, when they're with us, we're teaching them skills and potentially credentials, taking the best from Surry Yadkin Works and taking the best from Fleet, giving our students a purpose and a reason for being there. And hopefully they can learn from that experience. And again, this is, we want to give students an entry point and an exit point throughout the semester for our middle school students. And if high school students were sent to this alternative learning program, they would potentially be there for the remainder of that semester, but with a plan to get back into their traditional high school the next semester. If you look at the core components, so we know that we need academic scaffolds, small group instruction, credit recovery, personalized learning plans for students. We know that we're going to need to help our students with foundational skills, getting along with others, being able to follow directions potentially. That means soft skills, career readiness, job shadowing, resume building, conflict resolution, wraparound services. The community partners that we have here locally, we would envision they would be a big part of this. Surry Friends of Youth, the Children's Center, Department of Social Services, Juvenile Justice, Vocational Rehabilitation, community mentors, and faith-based organizations, Surry County Substance Abuse Recovery Office, Insight Human Services, Surry County Health Department, and Surry Medical Ministries. All of those wraparound services would be we would want to include those partners to help our students in this potential alternative learning program. So we think creating a smaller student-teacher ratio helps us helps our students. And so I guess at the very bottom, the bottom line really is we want to create a fluid, responsive, alternative learning program for all three school systems. We think it's more economical to do this. We want to reduce dropout rates. We want to improve the mental health and behavioral outcomes of our students. We want to re-engage our students with a purpose and direction. And we want to build a stronger workforce pipeline for Surry County as a whole. So this is a new program. Surry County Schools, we don't currently have what we call a program. We do have students that may have an alternative learning placement with fewer of these supports. And we feel like with a program like this, we could support them. So we are requesting $500,000 in year one to get this program off the ground. And in subsequent years, you can see if we expand that and create an elementary component and a work-based learning component, we would need to come back to you for a future, maybe additional funding in year 2. So this is a long-range vision for a program. We have not identified a facility for the program. If funding were made available, then that would be our next big step, is to identify a facility. Obviously, location is important. Being able to get transportation in and out. I think about child nutrition, being able to have a delivery point for food and for meals, being able to staff a location. So all those are the details we would want to work out if we could see this program off the ground. What questions do you have?
How would you, just because I don't know, if you were to go down that road, your 3 school system, how about transportation to and from school?
We would.
And you're talking about really from all over the county.
Yeah, we would work that out with our transportation director. As you know, we have one transportation department that serves all 3 school systems currently with one transportation director. So we certainly would work that out. We already do that with Fleet. We have students that do need transportation. Most of those students can drive, but we have worked out shuttle buses in the past, and we also work out shuttle buses for the early college students that do come from Mount Airy City and Elkin City if they don't have transportation. So there is a skeleton program or service that's really worked out. We would have to create some probably special stops and some special shuttle stops if we were able to get this program off the ground.
One more question whilst I'm speaking. Are there other models around other school systems in the state of North Carolina that do such a thing?
Yes, sir.
Could you give me an example of?
Iredell Statesville has a really good program. Henderson County Schools has a program that we've looked at. Pitt County Schools has a program that we've looked at. We've engaged, I asked Jill Reinhardt to help me by looking at some of the systems around the state that have what I call model programs. She contacted DPI and talked to them. They gave us 5. Henderson County, I named, I think 3 of the 5. I can't remember the other 2 off the top of my head. The piece I really like about Iredell is they've created a work-based learning component to the program. And that's obviously in phase 2. I think that would be a really important component if we could do the same. There's also some grants that are potentially available, but you got to have a program to get that kind of started. So that's something in phase 2, 3, we would certainly be seeking outside resources to help get this program off the ground. I wouldn't be here tonight asking for this if it wasn't a need.
And I guess I'm sure you have researched with, has any of them been providing this type of service in any of the other examples you gave that has impressive results?
I would share those results. I don't have those results with me, but I think because the Department of Public Instruction held those 5 programs up, they do have impressive results. And again, I go back to the examples of Iredell Statesville and Henderson County who have included that work-based learning component. I think what we see as educators, traditional brick and mortar is right for most of our students. It's not right for all of our students. And I think if you look at programs like Surry County Works, we've been successful by being able to take students out of that environment and put them in another environment with structures. Fleet is another great example. This program is for some of our most challenged students that can't make it in a traditional school setting, who may be impeding the learning of other students who can make it in a traditional school setting. And that obviously, that hurts our hearts when we know that we have students in the classroom who are being distracted, or the teachers being distracted or being taken away from those students who can make it in that traditional setting. This is really, we need to find another alternative. And I think this is a program, we've not tried it. Give us a chance. That's what we're asking. Give us a chance to work together and prove it.
Would you continue the online program that you now have, the online magnet school program?
Yes, we would.
Did the DPI give birth to this?
No, sir.
Who gave birth to it?
Birth was given out of need, and that need is really the number of students that we currently have in an alternative learning placement We've also seen threat assessments, the number of threat assessments that we've conducted and our other systems have conducted. We are now required. We have a protocol, and we've seen those level of threat assessments. The number have increased, but we've also seen the level of threats increase. And I think you're seeing similar, you may be seeing similar issues across the county with other programs and other departments. I know at the school level, we have a lot of challenges, and I see this program being one that could potentially help some of our most at need, at risk, and most needy families.
So what I'm getting is, are you saying that discipline and accountability for the students has deteriorated in public schools in Surry County? Is that what you're saying? The discipline factor and children that cannot just function in a public school? Is that what?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when I look at societal expectations across the board, they're lower.
Yeah, for sure.
And we come to a school where we have expectations, we have accountability, we have attendance, we have discipline that we have to follow. And there are some that have a problem following those rules, following the rules.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see a cumulative effect here with public schools. And, I was here when there was zero money spent on security. There was no need for security. And then we put in $5, you remember it?
Yeah.
For security. And then because of the threats from inside and outside a public school, and then kids that now they're not going to fit into a public school, dysfunctional. It's just discouraging. I mean, it's just really discouraging. And I guess when you fund security, you fund security for all these schools in Surry County, and then you fund Surry Aiken Works, and then you fund all of these other things, and then you fund this. And, I just don't know, it's concerning from a societal perspective and a financial perspective for the Surry County taxpayers. And yes, I think you're correct. Things have deteriorated. And I just, has discipline deteriorated in your school?
I feel like our expectations have not deteriorated. I feel like our students have challenges and our families have challenges.
I understand that. They had them back in the
Every day.
60s when I was in school.
Yeah. I also think there's more awareness. When I was in school, there were no threat assessments.
Mm-hmm.
There was no social media. There weren't tip lines to submit this or this or this. There's a lot more awareness of the issues that we're dealing with, and we are dealing with them. And our teachers come to work every day working hard to try to help our students learn reading, writing, science, social studies. But our students have a lot more issues, and if we can't take care of some of those basic needs, then learning can become secondary, not primary. We're trying to put learning back in a primary state. Not that it's not already there, but we have to ensure that our schools are safe and that discipline is a top priority for our schools, and it is, but this program will help us. We don't have the funding to supplement this program currently. Other school systems have alternative schools, Yadkin County, Stokes.
There was one in Surry,
There was one in Surry 20-plus years ago.
Foothills.
Yep.
Foothills School, yeah.
But we currently,
Social media, kids, their iPads and their parents I believe Commissioner Goins said it last night. They get in the car, you hand them an iPad or the game. Go in a restaurant, you hand them the game. Come back out of school, put them in the back seat and hand them the game. You know, no interaction, no social networking. It's all became what's on that pad in front of you.
Yeah.
And I sit around and watch teenagers nowadays, room full of them, and they're sitting there texting each other instead of talking. I mean, it's crazy. And, but, that's why I think that's one of the downfalls.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to
Go
interrupt.
ahead.
You folks still have cell phones in your schools, is that correct?
Well, there's cell phones there, but
Well,
we
I know,
have
but some-
procedures
Some
and,
schools have completely removed them, have they not? I think I've been reading that
well, our,
Classrooms.
in the classrooms, yeah.
well, we have a policy where cell phones are taken up at the beginning of the day or the beginning of class and given back to kids at the end of class or the end of the day.
Okay,
So cell phones really aren't an issue during the class now.
right,
I
yeah.
mean, kids can get them between classes and at lunch, or they may have them during a break, but during the class time, cell phones really aren't an issue.
And you talked about the things that, no, you didn't say. You said, no, I didn't say that, I think, and I get it. But just to get a understanding and a scope of the need that you three collective school systems are coming together to ask for this startup opportunity. What would you imagine out of, let's see, you got 7,000 kids, and then there's 9,000 kids in Surry County Public Schools, or what percentage of those kids you think year one, if you had the facility, that would be recommended candidates for out of our total school population?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question. We envision we could serve 60 students in year one,
So 60 students.
middle school and high school students.
60 students. Okay, thank you.
I do have one more question if you're entertaining. The Department of Education sent out the Title IX, I think, document under Executive Order 14190 based on Students for Fair Admission versus Harvard. I think that document was due back from public schools on the 24th. Has your board passed that yet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Good, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate all y'all coming out tonight. All right, next up, Dr. Steve Hall, Elkin City Schools. I'll ask you to introduce all your entourage.
Yes, sir. Tonight, we have a big Elkin following this evening.
All right, I saw that.
Got board members here, Earl Blackburn, Jennifer Klein Hexel, Jill Belia, and I also have Amanda Burton, who is principal at the high school, Julie Severs, my administrative assistant, Dana Carpenter, who is our CTE director,
My cousin.
Allison Moxley White, who is our HR director, and Rachel Creasy, our CFO, is back there in the back as well. But I think I got everybody, yeah. So thank you for having us this evening. We appreciate your support of Elkin City Schools. We're into my 18th month on the job. It's going well. It's going well. It's good to be back home, I can tell you that. Good to be back in Surry County. You know, we're small but mighty. Thank you, folks, for coming over on April 7th and conducting your meeting there. We've got a lot of great feedback from our community
Did we
for
have?
for you, for you. No, sir. No, sir. You're always welcome.
Long night.
You're always welcome, but we've got a lot of great feedback from our community for you folks coming over and doing that. We appreciate that.
Appreciate the invite.
Yes, sir. But thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, and board members for having us this evening, Mr. Knopf and your staff. We appreciate all the communication and the transparency with you and your folks. It's greatly appreciated. I also want to say special thanks to Peter and Nathan with Surry on the Go. I don't know if you've bringing back social media here, but there's good stuff on there too. And today they posted and shared out, they did some senior interviews with a group of our seniors. And if you haven't watched that, take a few minutes and watch. It's about 10 minutes, but it's fantastic. They asked some questions of those folks. And I think what you'll gather from that 10-minute segment is they're going to talk about community, they're going to talk about family, and they're going to talk about their love for Elkin City Schools. And, you know, they are why we're all here tonight, and they're why we do what we do. So thank you, huge thank you for that Surry on the Go. That's a hidden gem if people don't know it. They do a lot of great things covering events.
Last year, what, 3.4? 3.4 million views?
Wow. Wow. That's awesome.
It is hidden gem.
They do a really good job with that. Thank you for doing that. I want to touch on, kind of piggyback off what Dr. Reeves was discussing with that alternative learning program that you guys got the infographic on that. Every school board by general statute, I think it's 115C 105.45 through .48. It gives you all the details, but every school board in the state of North Carolina is required to have an alternative learning program of some type, some shape or form for their school district. Elkin City Schools in the past has had a model housed at our high school for middle and high school students called the Elk Academy. And through attritions and retirements and budget constraints, we cut that program this school year. On any given day, we could have had 8 to 10 students, as small as Elkin is, in that program. And that'd be grades 6 through 12 there in Elkin. That's one of the reasons. You know, by statute, we're supposed to have some type of program. Now, with that program cut, you can walk in the front office at the high school, and some days you're going to see students there sitting with Miss Burton. It may be in her office. It may be right outside her office. Well, she's got a school to run. And, you know, 350 other kids to look about. So that's one of the reasons why, you know, this is required for school boards to provide this. With budget constraints, like I said, we had to cut our program. And Surry County currently doesn't have a true program either. So this would help all of our students in all 3 districts. It would save funds because it would save on the human capital piece by all 3 school systems not having to have a separate program each and just housing it all in one site. And we could tap into that Surry-Yadkin Works, Surry-Yadkin Fleet transportation model, I feel like, to help get them to some centralized location. And it would allow for more supports. The social media does play a part, I'm sure of that. But, you know, our kids are coming to us a lot different than they were, you know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. You know, we've had that pandemic since, and there was a lot of changes there with our students and families and the family structure. So I feel like this would be a positive for all 3 school systems. So I just thought I would include that as well. Like I said, I started, you know, back October 23. It's been a year almost a year since I stood before you, and we were just coming out of our car accident my wife and I. It was April 1st, a little over a year ago. So a lot of things have happened in that time. But, there's always good to outweigh the bad. And I'm in a good place. And it's good to be back here in Surry County, like I said. When I got there, I'm just being transparent like I was last year when I was here. I told you I just a common man, common background, but I have a lot of common sense. And I stepped into this role and found out our fund balance, again, transparent, was at $117,000. And for a superintendent, when he hears that, it's a little scary, as you could imagine. I've been here 18 months, and we did a lot of things in that time. We dissolved several programs that were draining on our local funds. We downsized our human capital, like I said, through attritions and retirements. We haven't replaced, it's sitting at around 10 positions in those 18 months that we haven't replaced. So again, we're small. We're the smallest system in the county. We're already lean, and now we're even leaner in the human capital side of things. We did raise our out-of-district tuition. It was $650 last year. We raised that to $800. This coming school year for 26-27, it will go up again to $950. That was already put in place by the board before I got here. And so parents are already aware of that, and we're getting ready to send out reminder letters here in the next couple of weeks, but that will raise again. We've also, and I mentioned this last year, we've curbed all of our non-essential spending on programs, and we cut back on a lot of those technological programs. We didn't have a lot to begin with because we're firm believers that people fix people, not programs. So the human capital is more important to me, to have good people. But we have, on a downside, had to curb our hiring, our non-essential hiring currently, due to those budget constraints. But here's some good news. And I know at these things, sometimes you don't hear a lot of good things. In the past 18 months, through all those efforts and many more, and I have to give all the credit to the team out here and all the staff that aren't here tonight, through their hard work and their efforts. Our fund balance as of tonight is $308,000. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's been 18 months and we've been squeezing those pennies hard, and we've increased that fund balance. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. We still got a lot of work to do, but with this team, and like I said, the folks that aren't here tonight, that can't be here, we're going to get the job done. And working with you folks, that all of us working together for a common goal, I feel like that's where we're going to climb out of this. I know we are. So I'll get right to the meat of it. We're small. We don't ask for a lot. For the 26, 27, or 25, 26 school year, sorry. We are asking for, last year we received $314 per student for capital outlay.
Let me interrupt you just.
Yeah.
We're gonna break for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
All right, Dr. Steve Hall.
Thank you, sir. We were just getting ready to get to the number part. I'll pick right back up.
Might have been a good thing we paused.
This budget's so bad, it's so bad I had to get up and leave.
Again, we're small. We didn't ask for a lot. That's what I was leading in with.
My apologies. Rick.
You're fine. The capital outlay allotment request, last year, each of the school systems through the new model received a set amount. It was $314 per student. And we would just like to see that amount maintained. If it can be increased, we'll gladly accept it. But if it's maintained, we're good with that. As for our current expense request, we're estimating we'll have 879 students in district within Surry County that'll be enrolled for next year. And last year, you graciously gave us $1,320 per student. This year, we've asked for a $55 increase to $1,375. Again, with increases in benefits and retirements and other things, possible raises from the state level with some of those salaries, like Dr. Reeves mentioned, we'll have to match at the local level. We'll need a little bit of increase there to help us account for that. That would give us a grand total of $1,208,625. Last year, we also asked for an increase in the supplemental tax revenue that Elkin City receives. If you can see within your budget to allow another increase to that supplemental revenue tax, we would greatly appreciate that as well. Thank you to Commissioner Harris for supplying us with some information and some background on that supplemental revenue tax and how that comes about and how it works. That is greatly appreciated for you sharing that, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Again, I just want to say thank you to you folks. Thank you to all of our people for being here this evening. Thank you to our students, staff, community for all their support. And I'll open it up for any questions that you may have.
So yes, I wanted to give you folks that information. A lot of it's historical that we have here at the county going back to the late 80s on school capital projects and how money's been allocated and a lot of historical tax data. I did, for the benefit of your board, at a couple of them's request, the supplemental tax rate for Elkin City Schools basically went unchanged for many years. And in 2016-17, Meyer Cox requested a 2-cent increase. And it was explained to me to make up for the 2 cents that we had taken from Elkin City Schools. Well, there had never been anything taken from Elkin City Schools as far as supplemental tax since I'd been a commissioner starting in 2010. So, but we told her, you know what, if you want to have a public hearing, go ahead and have your public hearing and have a public hearing and get folks there and get their opinion on it. So Commissioner Tucker and I went. And of course, there was a lot of, high-income professionals there that were begging for a tax increase. That's usually the way those things work. You can't tax them enough, and they love it. But majority of the folks in Surry County don't. At the end of the day, the board gave Elkin City Schools at that time a 1-cent tax increase. And at that public hearing, it was discovered that the 2 cents that was allegedly taken was due to a reevaluation between the years of 1998 and 2002. Some people's memory were quite lengthy that could remember way back. So, and Gary York was there, and he was one of the commissioners at the time. So, anyway, we gave Elkin the 1 cent, and actually, I think that didn't go over too well. In retrospect, honestly, we probably shouldn't have done the 1 cent increase. But then there wasn't any more change up until reevaluation in 2020, 21. So at that time, it went from 13.2 cents to 12.6 cents. And that was just hunting the revenue neutral number to give you folks the same amount of money. And then I think due to some dysfunction between the board and the special school and what the tuition rate charged for out-of-county students, we cut the tax rate 1 penny. We took the penny back. So there for 1 year, actually. And then in last year, we put it back to 12.6 cents. So you're back basically wherever you were. And the documents that I gave you in that handout there will show historically that that you folks have had increases every single year. And you're up to about 1.1, little over 1.1 million. Well, that was for 2024. And they're in the folder there. Let's see, 1,111,000 at a 12.6 cent rate for 2024, 2025. So, and then there is some ADM numbers in there as well. And to give you some historical numbers on that, I thought it'd be handy. And also the Elkin budget message from 2011, 2012, which was really interesting reading if you want to go back and look at some of that stuff. But anyway, and also I wanted to ask if you folks did, have you done the Title VI document with, for the DOE? Pardon me?
Department of Ed?
Yeah.
Yes, we signed and certified and sent that in to the state, yes.
I
It was already in policy, and we spoke with our attorney, and she said we were good to go. So
okay,
we signed and sent it in. Yes, sir.
because I think the Supreme Court has found that most of those programs, most of that DEI and colleges and universities and public school systems was highly discriminatory, and quite frankly, in my opinion, racist. And so I'm glad to see that going away. I hope it never comes back because I think it's divided our country and our schools. And I think it's done great harm to public education. And so, and I think there'll be some things coming down the pike from the Supreme Court to further define some of these things regarding transgender people in women's sports, transgender men in female sports. And I think it's, women deserve to have the sports to themselves. And I think, and I hope that our schools reflect that here in Surry County. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Wait a minute, I do have some more questions. I noticed this is on your finance officer, Rachel Creasy, does such an outstanding job, and I wanted to compliment her. I noticed last year that you had 890 in-district children, and I think you're showing on your request here your ADM at 879. So it looks like you're down in district by 9 people. So your request, yes, so you're down.
Yeah, that's the in-district students.
Right.
And we're down overall as well. I think probably several factors, but probably raising that tuition last year played a role in that as well.
Last year you had 322 out-of-county children. And I think I made the comments at the time, and this is a great concern of mine. And I know to public educators, warm bodies in the seats equals money. And that's what drives the train. I understand all that. But I understand also that overcrowded schools, and I know you folks have had some, our charge here is basically brick and mortar and your capital needs, which I think we've always done a phenomenal job at Elkin City Schools. They've always received more than their fair share, and I want to publicly state that when we did the $30 million let for Surry County, if you do the ADM numbers, Elkin was supposed to get $3 million. Guess what? They got 11.5 million. So Surry County Board of Commissioners has been very good to Elkin City Schools. And I've heard some, I watched your presentation, quite frankly. I watched your meetings with the gentleman that did the pro bono work for you on the addition at the Elkin Elementary School. And now I understand that you're going to move the 6th grade to over there. I've heard a few negative comments. Of course, I try not to associate around town too much. I get enough, pushback on this, that, and the other, but that's part of the job, and I don't mind it too bad. So I guess, what are your plans there at the elementary school? I mean, because that is our charge, and I know that the Governor Stein has requested a school bond, and I thought those numbers were way out of whack, quite honestly. If you look at the ADM numbers for Surry County, and what Surry County was getting and what Elkin and Mount Airy was getting, those numbers were quite frankly way out of whack, in my opinion. And if the governor was here tonight, I'd tell him that. But is that you folks, you don't think the moving to the high school, the middle school, the 6th grade is going to alleviate your problem at the elementary school that I know you still have what, one mobile classroom, is that
Yeah,
right?
we do. We have one mobile unit out back, and there's 6 classrooms in there, and we have 3rd grade in that building currently.
Mm-hmm. And so you think your enrollment's going to continue to grow there, or how do you see that, Dr. Hall?
If the housing market continues as is, and some of these townhomes, and I'm hearing possible apartment complexes coming down the pipe, yes, I do. You live there. Elkin's a destination, and people want to be there. It's growing. And I meet people all the time downtown or at the chamber meetings, and they want to be there. They want to come to Elkin. So I see it growing, continuing to grow.
And our charge too, and it was always kind of hard to peel back the layers. Geography is what it is. Elkin's right in the corner of 3 counties. I understand that, but our charge is with the citizens of Surry County in the geographical boundaries of Surry County. And, when I see, several hundred students that are out of county going to Elkin City Schools, and I understand that somewhat, and then I see the overcrowding, and I see you folks talk about the overcrowding at Elkin Elementary School. That gives me great cause for concern, because in my view, it's patently discriminatory against the children whose parents are tax-paying citizens of Surry County. Those children go to an elementary school that is overcrowded because of children from another county. And those children from another county don't bring the brick and mortar dollars with them. You folks don't get anything for those children. You don't get the per pupil allowance. Surry County citizens are paying it lock, stock, and barrel. So when I see someone say the word overcrowding, as someone who has grandchildren that are getting ready to probably start Elkin City Schools, perhaps, it is cause for concern, because no one wants to send their kids to an overcrowded school. And I told Dr. Brenniger last year that everybody used to go eat with their children. That you talk about societal problems and all of these things in schools. Well, guess what? I used to go once a week to eat lunch with my with my children and at Elkin Elementary School. And I loved every time I went.
Mhm.
And I've been told I can't do that. When my kids start there, that I can't do it. And Dr.
Well, this year, I told you last year I was going to fix that, and we did.
Well, I'm glad you fixed it.
Yeah, we had 280 parents and grandparents at Thanksgiving, and there's weekly now, folks. We've got special tables. They want to come in and eat with their child, and we make it happen. So,
Well, good. I'm
yeah,
glad
that's
you
taken
fixed
care
that.
of. Yes, sir.
Well, mine are not there yet, thank God, but anyway, so the brick and mortar component of this and the tax component for citizens of Surry County is a cause for concern, and I understand, and I hope you keep raising that tuition up. And because it is the only fair thing to do. And that still doesn't alleviate the problem entirely because those children don't bring brick and mortar capital monies with them. That $314, they don't cut you a check for $314, and the Wilkes County Commissioner's not going to cut that either. I promise you that. So, and I understand the financial situation that you folks have, and I'm glad you got rid of those crazy initiatives that were there, sucking money out, and quite frankly, were pretty much worthless. And so I congratulate your board, and I think they've made great progress. And but I wanted to say those things, and I wanted to say them in public.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Howell?
Yes, ma'am.
How many students do you have at the elementary school?
It's around 672, I believe. Yes, ma'am.
And do you know how many staff members you have at central office?
Central office? 17, and that's including 2 maintenance because they're stationed there. Their maintenance department's upstairs. We have 17. That's everybody. Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? Dr. Hall, we appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir.
tonight and bringing everyone with you.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Go
Thank you.
Buccaneers.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sir, y'all have a good night.
Larry, it's good to see you here tonight, brother.
Mhm.
Thank you for coming over on
Yeah,
tonight.
Larry Wagner's here, former board member of Elkin City Schools. So glad to have you, Larry.
My former 7th grade teacher
There you
and
go.
Out of the war completely out, he said.
former rabbit hunter. He's still rabbit hunting.
All right, next up, we were supposedly have
Jerry wore his paddle out.
Dr. Philip Brown, but I believe he's got a family event going on, and prayers are with him and his family. And I believe we're going to have Dr. Olivia Sykes and her entourage. You can introduce everyone now. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. So I'll start by introducing who I have with us today. I have our Chief Financial Officer, Andy Mahaffey, Dr. Crystal Tyndall, Academic Support, Emily Hardy, she's in charge of our facilities, maintenance, safety, everything like that, operations. 2 board members, Mr. Ben Cook, I thought just walked in. Where is he? Oh, there he is. And Randy Moore in the back. You want to stand up here with me, Andy, or you just want to? So Dr. Brown is with his father, who has undergone quite an extensive medical procedure today. So he is with his family, and I appreciate the opportunity to stand in for him and represent Mount Airy City Schools for you tonight.
You have an update?
Yes, it was 9 hours of surgery, and he is in recovery as of just like an hour ago, and they don't expect him to wake up until tomorrow morning. So continued prayers for his family. I know it's late. We're last on your agenda, so I just will go ahead and get started. I will start with our school funding request form with our current expense rate. Our projected ADM for the 25-26 school year is 1,723 students. We are requesting a current expense rate of $1,335 per student. This is based on our Board of Education's vote to, our current supplemental tax is 10.6%, as you know that. So our Board of Education voted that they feel like maybe a decrease of 10.2% with that 1335 is where they would like to go. If possible, they do realize it's a balancing act. So if the supplemental tax, if you guys decide to decrease that, then of course we would need an increase in our current expense. With this request, we will still have to contribute about $100,000 out of our local fund to balance our budget. For capital outlay, once again, our ADM, 1,723 students, we're requesting $340 per student. We do have a charter expense as a pass-through fund. We are proud that over a 5-year trend, our charter school enrollment has decreased from 200 to 110 students. So we're working hard on that. But with that enrollment, we are going to need $146,160 for the charter school expense. In addition to these requests, we're requesting an additional expense for an SRO, a third of the cost of one SRO. And I'll talk about that a little bit later because I think there's a flyer in your packet that will kind of outline the expenses needed for that. Again, we're proposing that to change the supplemental tax rate for for Mount Airy City to 10.2% with our per pupil current rate expense of $1,335, changing that from 10.6% to 10.2%. You have requested the number of out-of-school or out-of-district students. Our in-county out-of-district students are 336 students, and most of our students are in the county, so they're paying the local tax. Our out-of-county students, we have 18, and our out-of-state 27. And our out-of-county and out-of-state predominantly, according to our tuition spreadsheet that we keep, those are mostly our employees' students. So they're coming in with their parents as employees of our school district. I'm now going to turn it over to Andy Mahaffey, and he's going to go over the next page in your packet.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to be here, share with you our ambitions for next year. In your packet, you will see one sheet that has our local expense breakdown. This printout shows it's broken down into purpose. So as you can see, that first column, the descriptions, instructional programs, system-wide supporting services, and ancillary. Those instructional programs are at the school and classroom basis. System-wide supporting services include maintenance, finance, and HR, and central office responsibilities, and then ancillary and charter school programming there. And the next two columns, you can see our projected FY25 final expense totals. And then next to that column is our FY26 projected expense. And that includes a 4% increase to those expense line items. And this includes projections from the State General Assembly, and which is matching insurance rates, matching rates, and retirement. And then also utility increases as we project will go higher. And I think that's all I have. I'll turn it back over to Dr. Sykes.
With those purposes, it's important to know that 71% of our money goes straight into classrooms, and the rest of the funds are operational in nature. So we do put the large majority of our funding into the classrooms. If you look at the SRO flyer that's in your packets front and back, that is a special request of us. We would like to know that we believe in school safety just like you have, and we know that you have expressed your support in having a school resource officer in every school in Surry County. We, up until just a couple of weeks ago, we had 3. One is shared between Therington and Jones, and our Board of Education has expressed the need and the want and desire to have another one. So to fulfill this request, we have a third of the funding through a state grant. So we're able to put in a third of the funding from our district. Our city commissioners, the city of Mount Airy, has committed to a third of the funding as well. So we're asking for a contribution of a third from you tonight, which is $28,333. The table on the back of your flyer outlines the expenses for an SRO. As you can see, the state and Mount Airy, or the city and Mount Airy City Schools fund these. We are able to pay for a portion of the high school SRO from a state fund, but it shows you the breakdown of how the city and the district funds the SROs. We already have onboarded an SRO They will be placed at Therington Primary School. And what we're asking tonight is for the funding to sustain that, a third of the amount to sustain that position. Also included in your packet are capital projects listed. There's a summary of our recent capital projects and then what's on deck for future projects, and those are just provided for your reference. And then, of course, the alternative learning program that has been mentioned tonight, we would like to express our support to having a joint alternative learning program in Surry County. We support this proposal and funding request, and we too have students who could benefit from the specially designed learning environment. We have one in-house, and it's housed at our central office, so if you ever want to visit, but it's very small in nature, and with funding, you know, ESSER and all of that going away, that's something that we're having to reconsider. And so we do feel like that we could expand that to a bigger need in our district. And it is a need for our students to have those social, emotional, and structural supports, as well as an alternative learning environment to meet their academic gaps. So in closing, thank you so much for your time and support and your patience with me tonight. I'm very nervous. This is not something I do on a regular basis. So we tried to narrow down our presentation to just simply cover our needs. And we thank you for the job that you do. I know it's not an easy job. It's very hard to sit in your seat. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your time and your listening ear tonight. And in the words of Dr. Brown, I think he said this for the past 2 years that I've attended, we strive to be good stewards of the public's purse. And so that's what we're trying to do. I'd like to thank our board and our support for being here tonight and entertain any questions. Now, I'll take the easy ones. You can address the hard ones.
Well, first of all, you've done a fantastic job.
I've been so nervous.
Why? Why
I
are you
don't know.
nervous? You've known me your whole life.
I have. It's just scarier in this atmosphere.
Okay.
You've done a fine job.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you.
I'll ask you the same question I ask everybody. Have you all submitted the DOE?
We have, yes.
request? Okay, thank you.
How many staff members do you have at central office?
That is a great question. I do not know the answer to. Does that include maintenance and, okay.
You folks having Peace Fest this year?
Do we have what?
You folks having Peace Fest this year?
We do not have Peace Fest this year.
Good. Thank you.
I have one question.
Okay.
that It's not on here that I'm just curious about because we've had conversations, Dr. Brown and I, in the past about the geothermal system, and I know that's a dirty word,
Yes.
in the Mount City Schools. Is there a reserve fund? Is there any plan whatsoever if a cold January morning, that system freezes and busts? 'Cause I know it's an issue.
I do not think we have a reserve fund. Obviously, the only thing I know that we have are the lottery funds that are for these types of, she's shaking her head. She's shaking. We were just bragging on that thing. It has not caused any issues this year for the first time in forever, so.
Because we've been praying over.
Yeah, that's right. Good. Keep praying.
So,
You know, we don't have a reserve for that, right?
Okay.
How is the new CTE facility working out? Is good?
The remodeled
The
CTE
remodel.
building is wonderful. And I would invite you to come look at the remodeled old junior high. It's coming along nicely. You know, I've been there 19 years and I just can't believe what it looks like now with that fresh coat of paint in the gym. And so we're excited about opening that up and getting some classes down there. It's a great space that's been kind of unusable for a while. And so it's coming along nicely. Please come and visit.
Let us
Yeah,
know when we can. and
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd like to
glad
come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I have one more question.
Okay.
You've got almost 900 million in reserve lottery funding. Have you looked at the use of those dollars?
Yes, we've looked at possibly using that for emergency. Currently using that for our and covering the building renovation.
You know, overall, your school system, I mean, I was looking at your capital request. Your school system's in pretty decent shape, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is. Y'all have done a great job over there. Yeah.
Anyone else? Olivia, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
For everyone coming. Olivia. All right. It says other items. Mr. Knopf?
First item is a follow-up from last night's meeting. You all requested a resolution in opposition to House Bill 765. That's been drafted. If you want to take a few moments to look over it and consider any action. Howard Jones and I worked on that, or worked on this resolution earlier today.
Has everyone had a chance to look over this?
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure we probably want to make some action tonight. So, do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the resolution raising concerns regarding House Bill 765, and that, if for folks in the audience, that deals with zoning. That deals with zoning and the state legislature. There's a bill being introduced that takes that control away from counties. And some language in there is not very good for rural counties, and so we don't feel like that we can support that bill. So that's what this resolution is in opposition to that bill 765.
Just to dig a little deeper for public consumption. One of the parcels in that bill is to have a lot, an acre. You can put like 6 houses on that acre. So it's it'll strap the counties. I mean, it don't apply to us as a rural county. It'll bankrupt counties like us. Because if you put 6 parcels on an acre, you've got to have sewer and water. And it's just a little insight for you to know why we're totally against this bill, and it would be a big mess if it got passed. So, motion by Commissioner Goins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hyatt. Any discussion? That's when I should have brought this up, but,
This is just a bill that arisen in the North Carolina House, Bill 765. You folks can research it. This is not this doesn't do anything except express this board's concerns about parts of it. I too have some concerns with parts of it. Typically, I align with a lot of the things that our House and our Senate comes up with, and this one's not out of the gate, and it's not about to be passed, and it's not even being considered in the Senate currently. But because it does raise some issues with our compliance with 160D and our 2040 land use plan that we just spent a couple of years refining, thinking it's the best for our county, we feel like it's going to create some problems for a rural county that in fact would be overwhelming. Some of them's already mentioned, and I agree that the density of houses on small rural acreage would beg the question for how you're going to get clean water there and how you're going to dispose of waste there, with a host of many other questions. And in fact, it kind of removes, and for the most part, we'd be glad to be rid of it if we agreed with it, but it would remove the local responsibility and jurisdiction away from zoning pretty much. And we feel like, as much as we hate that part of our job sometimes, that is one of the most important things we do, and that is we try to look down the road and offset things that will cause Surry County not to be such a great place to live in anymore. We like to protect our rural environment and our rural county makeups with our municipalities in it already existing that has special provisions. And there are many other parts that already allow micro housing and developments. But this would just pretty much, as we understand it, open up any rural county acreage to be under this bill would allow it to be pretty much without any local ordinance and for the most part, I don't like ordinances. We exist not to create them, but we kind of exist to keep things lined up so we don't have to have so many ordinances and rules and laws. But I don't think this is a good bill, and I don't think it would fit well with Surry County. And I too am in support of this resolution, just simply bringing to the attention of the North Carolina House of Representatives, hey, we're looking at this and it doesn't fit in Surry County and we don't like it. So with that, I'm in support of sending the resolution, Mr. Chairman.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
There's an optional work session scheduled for April 29th. I don't think we've ever held it since I've been manager, but if you all do not want to hold it, you'll need to take action.
I make a motion that we not hold a budget session on April 29th.
Motion by Commissioner Goins, is there a second?
What was that session scheduled for?
It's a fourth session. It's always on the calendar if needed.
Well, we haven't quite got that far yet, have we?
Wait a minute, we got a motion on the floor. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any discussion? Now,
You all, the board, at least in my tenure, has never held that work session. It's, I think, scheduled as an overflow if needed. There is another work session following it, which comes after the public hearing in the first week of June.
that's usually when we come back.
Okay.
It's when you all usually make your decision.
So this is the optional one, not the last scheduled one. Yep, understood.
You can hold it. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, if you don't, you need to amend the calendar, basically change the schedule.
I guess we can come and trade pocket knives.
Kind of what we do, I guess.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have.
We have any
We're
closed?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Goins to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tucker. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.